My name's Granville and I edited a book on the miners' strike called Shafted, the media, the miners' strike and the aftermath. And this film tonight, which is called The Dirty 30, is about one aspect of the strike, which was the 30 miners in Leicestershire who supported the National Union of Mine Workers' national strike. Most of the Leicestershire coalfield did not support it, as did Nottinghamshire. And so there is this honourable story about 30 men who stayed out for the year, loyal to the Union, and that's what the film is about. My involvement with the film is that one of the people who has directed it suggested I do some interviews, and so I do have a small part in the film, but I would stress that the main story is about what I consider to be a very heroic aspect of the strike, the 30 miners who stayed out the whole of the year. I'm very interested in the miners' strike. I live in Yorkshire. I live in what was the Yorkshire coalfield, and so I've always been interested in written about the strike as a journalist.
Very few people supported the strike. Why was that?
In Leicestershire, very few people. There are a number of reasons for that. I think a lot of the people felt that they hadn't been consulted about the strike. I think it was often an excuse that was made. In Yorkshire, the strike was 100% solid. In Wales, in Scotland, and one of the issues that I think it may be discussed in the film, I don't know because I haven't seen it, is why is that some of the miners, especially in Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire, the majority didn't support the strike, and it could be for a number of reasons. One is that a lot of people joined the pits, went to work in the pits, who had never historically had any association with the mining industry. But during the 70s and 80s, mining industry was well paid, and so a lot of people came into the industry who had not hadn't got a familiarity with the traditions and the solidarity of the mining industry, and I think that is one of the reasons, possibly, that could explain why in Nottinghamshire and in Leicestershire support for the strike was weak.
And what was the strike about?
Well, unusually, strikes are normally about pay, money. The 1984-85 miners' strike was not about pay, it was about defence of communities. Because once a mine closes, all of the jobs associated with the mining industry close, and essentially the village dies. And so it's very important to remember that for a year the miners were on strike, not about money, but trying to defend jobs and communities. And tragically, that has been demonstrated. After the strike, a lot of the mines closed and the mining villages became areas of high unemployment, often violence, drugs, all sorts of things began to happen as a consequence of there not being jobs in the mining villages. So I think it's very important to stress that aspect, not about a strike about pay, a strike about defending jobs and community.
Are there lessons that can be drawn from the miners' strike?
Well, I think there are so many lessons I could spend an hour talking about them, but let me just pick out two. One is that if you look at energy policy, how we generate electricity, only today Ofgem, which is the body that regulates electricity, is forecast that there will be a shortage or a vulnerability to energy in about 2015, because some of the electricity generating stations will close. Now, one of the things that we had in this country before the 84-85 strike was that the coal that was mined was relatively cheap. Compared with lots of other countries, it was cheap. Now we import most of our coal, but other sources of energy are often vulnerable. If you think about gas, much of the gas comes from a Russian pipeline which twice has been turned off. So lots of the things about the miners' strike, it was about defending jobs and community, but also the whole issue of energy, how you actually secure energy and supplies of coal. The other issue is one that's very controversial. It's about whether we should burn coal because of the environmental impact. But many of the research projects that were going on, which the Thatcher government immediately cut after the strike, was research into clean coal technology, ways in which you could use coal so that the environmental impact was limited. So those are two lessons from the strike for today. That we have, ironically, very, very few mines which are actually mining coal. 3 in Yorkshire, 1 in Nottinghamshire, 1 in Coventry, near Coventry, called Door Mill. But most of our coal is imported from America, from Colombia, from South Africa, from Poland, from Russia. It's crazy when you have coal underground that could be mined very cheaply, but that's the way the thing is panning out today. So those are some of the lessons from the miners' strike for today. My writing, the book on the miners' strike, Shafted, is published by the Campaign for Press and Broadcasting Freedom. If you go to their website, www.cpbf.org.uk, you'll find details about the book and also about other writing. I'm involved with the Campaign for Press and Broadcasting Freedom, which produces this magazine, Free Press, and we're concerned about how the media publishes and reports on trade union issues. And that's why we did the book on the miners' strike.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.